Okay, I think I'm live again. Nice to see you. And today I'm hoping that the audio is much, much better. Last time the audio was terrible. I apologize for that. I re-watched the video and it was terrible. I don't know how you listen to me. But today we do have some good audio. So for those who are with me, please let me know. Can you hear me? Can you see me? And who are you? Hopefully we get some of the... Oh, I was just going to say, some of the regulars. And there's our first regular, Lolly. Welcome, Lolly from France. Good to see you as always. Lolly, how's the audio? It must be so much better than before, I hope. Last time was so bad. Hello, Pak Yon Lan. I know that name. Thanks for joining me. Okay, good. Nice. Excellent. Heidi, how did you listen to me last time? That audio, I re-listened to the lesson and it was awful. So I do apologise. Great to see some familiar names. Good to see you, Zara. Zira or Zara, I'm going to say Zira. And Zaynep, good to see you as well. Thank you for joining me. And today we have a nice topic that I think everyone can talk about comfortably. Talking about holidays. So yeah, great to see all of you. So as always, please say hello, say where you're from. Niazi, thanks for joining from Turkey. Good to see you as always. Lots of familiar faces today, so it's good to see. And as I said, hopefully things are a bit more bearable today with the audio. Okay, thank you, Heidi. Yeah, that's good to know. Yeah, I'm glad you went through it. You pushed through it heroically. So yeah, it's an easy topic today. I think everyone can talk about it. Hopefully we're going to learn lots of vocabulary, lots of expressions, and perhaps even some grammar for all you grammar nerds. I know Lolly likes her grammar, so we'll see. We'll see if we have time. I think 1 hour's not much to talk about so much in about holidays. So a little update from me. Everything is fine here in Korea. We are having a little bit of a second wave. I don't know if you've heard this expression before, but in Korea we're having a second... Oh, let's make sure we're typing. We're having a second wave of the coronavirus. Are you familiar with this term? I think a few countries, China... Germany are experiencing a second wave where the coronavirus is spreading again, but not too serious yet. Hopefully, keep our fingers crossed. So that's the only news here. Everything else is as normal. How is everyone here? Are you all well? Are you also experiencing a second wave? Is everything okay in your countries? It looks like we've got quite a few countries in already. France, Korea. Oh, there's Layla. Nice to see you, Layla. Yeah, I'm good. I'm very well. Feeling healthy. The sun's... Oh, no, it's not. The sun's not shining. I'm lying. It's a rainy day today. But it's been such a sunny spring. But yes, it is a bit of a dull, dreary day. Lolly, yeah... fingers crossed, but it's definitely something that people are worrying about, the second wave. Yeah, great to see you as well, Layla. Heidi, fingers crossed, right? Hopefully, I say that a lot. I should put that in there. Fingers crossed. That means kind of let's feel good luck for the future. So fingers crossed that it is not too serious and we don't get a second wave in all the other countries. Good. So as I said, and especially for some of you, like Layla, today's subject's a bit nicer, a bit easier. I think everyone can talk about it. We're talking about traveling, going on holiday. So I think we will have plenty to talk about, plenty to learn, hopefully. So why don't we get started? So we're talking about going on holiday. So you can see the first word on my list is spontaneous. So you're probably wondering why. Layla, you're absolutely right, and thank you very much. It's Happy Teachers Day. Yeah, Teachers Day today in Korea. So thank you very much. So with the first word that comes up is spontaneous, and that's because I want to ask the question: what kind of traveller are you? What kind of traveller are you? And there are very many types of travellers. I think the first that come to my mind are people that are planners. You can be a planner or you can be spontaneous. Now, can anyone help me? What does spontaneous mean? I am not very spontaneous. Can anyone tell me what spontaneous means? And then we'll move on and talk about the types of traveller we are. Heidi, your planner. Perhaps you are similar. Like, looking at your answer, perhaps you're similar to me. You were a bit more spontaneous and now you're more of a planner. Lolly, you're absolutely right. Yeah, so spontaneous is to do something without planning. You can do something spontaneously, so that's an adverb, or you can be a spontaneous person. Now, for me personally, I'm not really a spontaneous person. I used to be more spontaneous, but now I'm not. Is anyone in this chat spontaneous? So we've got Heidi's a planner, Layla's a planner. I'd say I am somewhere in between, a bit more of a planner nowadays, I guess. I like to have a bit of a plan set out. Anyone else? Are you spontaneous or are you a planner? Niazi, that's an interesting way of putting it. You pick up your stuff and set off. Yeah, so without much thinking, right? Without much planning, just go out and do it. Spontaneous people normally just do things off the cuff. Off the cuff means to do things without planning as well. So let's just mention that as well. To do something off the cuff. That's an idiom which means the same kind of stuff, the same kind of thing. So Lolly's a spontaneous person. Great. And later, yeah, you're right. That's spontaneous. Yeah, that's to do something off the cuff. Now, I used to be spontaneous. I can give you an example. I had a reasonable job in England and, I was a golf teacher. But one day I decided I don't want to be in England anymore. Let's just go. So I remember I phoned I think it was the Australian embassy, and I got myself a visa. I had an interview and I went to Australia very quickly. That was a very spontaneous thing to do. Hello, Lullaby. Good to see you. No, you're not. You're fine. You're just in time. Lullaby, we're talking about traveling today, so I hope this is a better subject for you. I know last time wasn't ideal for you. We're talking about traveling, and we're talking about spontaneous travelers who don't plan, and of course planners. What kind of traveler are you? Yeah, Heidi, that's a good point. Good answer. As you get older, it requires more planning, right? You can't be quite so spontaneous. In my early 20s, yeah, I could be very spontaneous and there was no big worry, financially. So, another kind of traveler is adventurous. Okay, so we've got an adventurous traveller. What is an adventurous traveller? An adventurous traveller. I am a fairly adventurous traveller. So an adventurous traveller. Corey, was it you that messaged me before? I can't help with essays. I'm sorry. Only if you're my student in Korea. If you're my student in Korea, I can help. If not, then I'm afraid I can't. But I will try to build a service like that in the future, Corey. So thanks for the question, and I will try to work towards that in the future. So adventurous. I am a fairly adventurous traveller. What is an adventurous traveller? What kind of activity would we do? An activity that I like, really, really like, is scuba diving. I think scuba diving is quite adventurous. I like surfing. Heidi gives an example: a backpacker who plans less. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it kind of connected to spontaneous in that sense, right? But as Zeynep said, it could be some kind of extreme activity like paragliding. I'd say paragliding is fairly extreme. But yeah, great example, Zeynep. Good answer, Layla, as well. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And Lolly, yeah, you're all absolutely right. Zeynep's really pushing the extreme activity. So diving with sharks, yes, that's a good example. Yeah, it's not something I will do. I think I'm adventurous, but I won't dive with sharks. Yeah, I like surfing. I like scuba diving. That's really, really fun for me. Paragliding, I'd love to give it a try. Has anyone here done paragliding or perhaps bungee? Oh, I keep losing it. Bungee jumping. Has anyone done bungee jumping? Where you tie a cord to your legs and you jump off the bridge or something, and then you dangle. Hello, Sankara. Thank you for joining me. I've seen you lots in the comments, so great to see you. As always, if anyone has any questions at all, please ask me. I'm happy to answer any questions, or I'll try to answer any questions. So bungee jumping. Has anyone done bungee jumping here? That's not something I've tried. Bungee jumping is absolutely, like Zeynep's examples, very adventurous. Yeah, Layla, yeah, absolutely. If you have any question, doesn't have to be related to today's topic, you're welcome to ask anything. Shore English Online, here he is, and he did it in 2008. Excellent. Was that in Korea? I haven't done it yet, but I heard that there's some good places in Korea, so I would like to try. Lolly's done it 3 times. Wow, you must enjoy it. Great to see you, Loy, again. Yeah, I haven't seen you for a while, so it's nice to catch up with you. How are you doing? So, yeah, types... so it was in Korea? Yeah, off a bridge. I'm going to have to look into that. I've heard of one near... I can't remember, but it's in Gangwon-do. So I've got to look into that, and I'd love to give it a try. But I would be very nervous. I'm not a big fan of heights. I'm the same as Heidi. I am not a big fan of heights. They make me quite uncomfortable. So yeah, types of travellers. Spontaneous, planner, adventurous, or just someone who likes to relax, of course. Sometimes I really like that kind of holiday. To just relax. Now, live stream your jump. Yeah, I have to do that to prove I did it right. But I should get one of those GoPros. I don't have one yet. Yeah, I agree, Park Yonan. You have to be spontaneous to do bungee jumping. Well, you can plan the bungee jump, right, and think about it a lot. Bearing Beauty, it's okay, Bearing Beauty. Thanks for joining me anyway. Go and take your maths class, and I hope to see you next time. 2 weeks from today. We'll have another subject for you. You can keep your questions for then. Okay, well, that's types of travellers. Now, I have an important question for you because you are all from different countries in the world. We have, so far I can see China, France, Austria, so many different countries, even Canada. I think Shore English is from Canada, right? My question is, for your country, in your country, what's the most common place to travel? What's the most common country to travel to? So how shall I ask that? I'm going to say, where do people in your country usually travel to? Sorry, my typing is so slow this evening. Where do people in your country usually travel to? Where do people in your country usually travel to? Okay. That's the question. That was a bit painful. My typing is so slow. So, for example, in Korea, we normally travel to Japan or Southeast Asia. Um, Korea, there's no way. I mean, you can send it to me, but I won't check it. That's not a job that I can do. That's not a service I provide. In the future, if I do, I will let you know. It will be something I promise I will do it one day. Masha, great to see you. I've seen you a lot in my comments recently, so great to see you in the chat. And I look forward to getting to know you more. We're talking about traveling today. So yeah, my question is, where do people in your country usually travel? In England, we normally travel to Spain. That's a really popular holiday destination. So let's put that popular holiday destinations in your country. There you go. Popular holiday destinations in your country. So where do you normally go to from your country? Another one, of course, as Lolly knows, a lot of English people go to France, the west coast of France. Now let's see some of these examples. We've got Austria. You normally go... Oh, so places in Austria. Yeah, well, you've got such a fantastic country. It's okay. It's a good example, Heidi. You've got so many great places. Lolly, all over the world. We've got Jeju Island. Now, for those who don't know, Jeju Island is a lovely island just south of South Korea. It's just off the coast. Korea. Oh, Anit Kabir. That place is most important. Okay, I don't know there. Where are you from, Korea? Which country? Austrians love Italy. Yeah, I love Italy. English people like Italy a lot as well. We very often travel there. You know, normally Rome or Florence, Firenze, as some people call it. Lullaby. People go to Turkey. Right, the Dead Sea. Is it the Dead Sea where you can float? It's very salty. I think that's the Dead Sea, right? I've heard about that. You can actually just sit on the sea. Corey's from Turkey. Okay, great. Thanks for joining me from Turkey. So that's plenty of ideas there. Some good places to travel to. Yeah, I certainly like a lot of those places. I like Austria. Actually, Heidi, Austria is a popular location for English people, mostly for skiing, as you know. Lullaby. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Layla, most people travel to Mecca. Wow. Okay, I've seen a lot about Mecca. It's an incredible place. Of course, I guess, Layla, that's a particular travel that's impossible now, right? They've shut down most of Mecca because of the coronavirus, because that's somewhere where so many people gather. It must be a very dangerous place to go. So, you know, today, I love today's topic. I love traveling, but it's it's a bad topic because we can't go traveling at the moment. So we just got to dream of traveling. So, Korea, have you thought that? Have you thought? So, I'll just adjust your question. Have you thought of coming to Turkey? Yeah. Have you thought of coming to Turkey, or have you been to Turkey? Yeah. I haven't been to Turkey. I certainly have thought of coming to Turkey, and I absolutely will go there one day. I've seen some amazing pictures, particularly of your countryside, where people take a hot air balloon, and it looks a really, really beautiful country. I'd love to go there. Lolly wants to go to Australia. Yeah, I've been there, and I can absolutely recommend. Australia is definitely one of the best places I've been. I'd say my best holiday was Spain. But that's something we're going to talk about in a moment. We'll talk about our best holidays in a moment. But right now, I want to talk about kinds of holidays. So you can see this on my list. So I don't know if I'm pointing the right way. No, this way, sorry. I've got the list of vocabulary. The list of vocabulary here. And the next on the list is domestic and international. What does domestic mean? If we travel domestically, or if we if we have domestic travel, what does that mean? So domestic travel, what does that mean? I'm a big fan of domestic travel. Very important nowadays because of coronavirus as well. So what does domestic and what does international mean? They are opposites. Opposite words, those are. Yep, Heidi's right. Lullaby is right. Yeah, you're all right. So domestic means to travel in your own country, to travel domestically, or to have a domestic vacation. So for me, yeah, I love to travel around Korea. That's where I'm based, so I love to travel around Korea. How about you? So are you able nowadays to travel in your country, to travel domestically? Or is that also really heavily affected by coronavirus? Here in Korea, because of the coronavirus, a lot of people are traveling around the country to the countryside because it's safer and you can get some fresh air. So how about in your country? Is that something you can do? Can you travel? Let's put that in. Can you travel domestically? Nowadays, obviously, because of coronavirus. And then we'll get on to the next word. Let's just hear your thoughts about domestic travel first. My last domestic travel was probably, well, I went to Jeju. I don't know if that was my last one, but Jeju is a beautiful island. Hotels, yeah, so it's looking not so good in some different countries. Lullaby, no. So it depends on your country. Now let's answer this question from Layla before we move on. Lolly, I know you can't because France is really serious, isn't it? Your lockdown is starting to ease, but anyway, Layla, I fill the glass with water. The cup is very full with water. I feel fill and full are similar in meaning. So what is the difference between them? So I filled the glass of water. The cup is very full. Well, simply, full is an adjective. Fill is a verb. So to fill something, so for example, if I pour water in here, I can fill the glass, or I could use the phrasal verb, fill the glass up, which means to fill it to the top. So fill is a verb. Full, I feel full. I am full. So that's an adjective. Korea, from Turkey, we can travel some places, but not all. I think that's going to be a very common answer. We are lucky in Korea. We're really lucky. Layla, did I answer your question enough? Does that answer your question well enough? I hope. Let me know. Let's move on to the next one. So the next one is a word that I'm not really comfortable with. I don't use it at all, but staycation. Let's just deal with this question from Sunkara. I think I am going to have a cup of tea now. If you move any closer, I'm going to give a bunch of 5. Why would speakers use going to instead of will? Well, firstly, I don't know what a bunch of 5 means. No, I don't know what that means. What I'll tell you is the difference between going to and will. Will has a variety of reasons we use it. Will verb has a variety of reasons, but let's just summarize it as will is certain. It's absolutely certain. It's 100%, and it will happen in the future. Going to is simply a plan. Now, plans exist now, but they can change. So the difference is going to is a plan you have now for the future. It can change. For example, I'm going to eat chicken tonight. That's my plan, but I can change very easily. I will eat chicken tonight expresses that I am certain I will do that. It's 100%. So will is a much stronger grammar structure when talking about the future. There's a variety of ways we use will, which I won't tell you now because it takes too long, but I will make a video about that. There you go. I will. A promise. So hopefully that answers your question, Sunkara. So staycation, lullaby. Staycation like a migration. No, but Heidi is right. I already heard the word staycation. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah. That's how I heard it. I'm using it. I'm hearing it more and more. So staycation is where you stay at home. Actually, staycation seems to have two meanings from my research, which is, yes, it can be just stay at home, but it can actually mean like stay in your area. So stay in your city or stay in your province. That's also referred to as a staycation, which just simply means you're not traveling away from your home area. So, Layla asks, could I use full as a verb? No, I can't think of any way you can use full as a verb. To full something. No, I can't think of any. If you can think of something, let me know, but nothing comes to my mind. So I'd say full is only an adjective. Sankara, what is the difference between intentions and plans? I say there's no difference. They are synonyms. Actually, when I teach that, and that's a good question, Sankara. When I teach going to verb, I always say going to is a plan or intention. So I say that at the same time. So you could say, for example, I'm going to eat chicken tonight. I intend to eat chicken tonight, and that has the same meaning. So I say that they are the same meaning. But really good question. Just to let you know, because I know I have some students who love grammar. I also love grammar. I am restarting the grammar series. The grammar series, I don't know if you've seen it, but I've done some grammar tenses. This Tuesday, I'm going to release a video which will be the past simple. But I will restart that series, and I will do all of the ones that, Sankara's mentioning. Lolly's asked me in the past, so we'll do lots of grammar, and you'll be able to learn things like the future simple, future perfect, present perfect, all of these difficult grammar tenses. So I hope you enjoy. Let's go to our next word, and that is B&B. Can anyone tell me what B&B stands for? What words does B&B stand for? I love B&Bs. Okay, let's just answer Corey's question. It's a nice question. How do you spend your time when you're at home? When I'm at home, I do. I mean, it sounds boring, but I do a lot of video editing. I watch Netflix, and I sometimes play computer games. But of course, I do like to take my dog out. But I know that, of course, that's not at home. So, yeah, lots of computer-related work and Netflix. Zainab, Heidi, Lolly, you are all correct. Bed and breakfast. I love bed and breakfasts. Actually, my dream is once I move back to England, my wife and I move back to England, we're going to open a B&B in England. I think I mentioned that before. I mentioned to Heidi and Lolly, I think a few other people were there. So yeah, I'm going to open a B&B in England in the future. Do you have B&Bs in your country? Let's ask that question. Do you have B&Bs in your country? We do have them in Korea, but they have a different name. They're called Minbak, I can't remember. But it's the same concept where they provide you with a room and breakfast. Sometimes some sort of food. Heidi, yeah, Oxford. Excellent. I look forward to it. I will keep you up to date with my plans. Yeah, so that's my plan. Zainab, okay, so you do have B&Bs. Great. Lolly, yeah, I guess so, Lolly, but maybe you have a different word for it. I assume you have. So lullaby, okay, a B&B, as we said, is bed and breakfast, but basically a B&B is a house. You know, someone lives there. It's their house. But they open up a room or rooms for people to stay, so someone can stay the night, and then the owner of the house will cook you breakfast in the morning. So they provide you a bed and breakfast. So it's just another type of accommodation. You know, we have hotels, motels, and B&B is another type of accommodation. Heidi, you do have them, but not typical. Okay. Yeah, it's a very... I think B&Bs are a very kind of traditional British thing. I don't know if they originated in Britain, but certainly they are a huge part of British travelling. So yes, maybe 5 years from now, you'll be able to come and visit me, stay with me in England. I will let you know. I'll keep you up to date. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next one. So what have we got? This is an unusual one, which perhaps you will or will not know. Off the grid. Now, this is going back to Adventurous. This is a very adventurous type of travel. Can anyone tell me... okay, thanks, Layla. Yeah, so B&B... There's B&B in the hotels. Well, B&B is normally separate from hotels. It's a different type of accommodation. Okay, so you wouldn't say a B&B is a hotel. They are separate types of accommodation. Normally someone's house, actually. Off the grid, can anyone tell me? Off the grid. Heidi, no idea. Okay, let me give you a clue. It's related to electricity and gas. Off the grid. Some people live off the grid. Some people live off the grid. No, good try, Heidi, but no, some people live off the grid. Bearing, good to see you again. Maths class is finished. Yeah, thanks for joining again. So now we're talking about types of travel, and I have introduced off the grid, abandoned areas, secretly. Now, good tries. I will enlighten you. I'll tell you what it means. Off the grid means somewhere that has no connection to electricity, to main electricity or gas or anything like that. The house or perhaps the tent. Sometimes it's glamping. We'll come to that in a moment, actually. But it's not connected. Yes, exactly. Connected to energy. It's not connected to electricity mostly. So it's quite an adventurous type of travel. You probably don't have any electricity. It's difficult to get, you have a limited supply of gas. So that's off the grid. Now, obviously, camping is an example of this, right? Camping is a traditional type of travel. Another one nowadays is glamping. Layla, you're right, that's one type of being off the grid. Very often, people who live off the grid live in the forest or in the mountains. Lullaby, absolutely. It depends. There are places on a safari that are connected to electricity, and there are places that are not. But you're right, Lullaby, that's a good example. Heidi, glamping is glamorous camping. Yeah, exactly, Niazi. Yeah, absolutely right. So you move away from the city. It's a very it's an extreme way of living, but it's becoming quite popular. I think people want to disconnect from the internet and electricity and things like that. Now, coming back to glamping is for people that don't want camping, which is too extreme. It's perhaps, too cold or too wet. They want a little bit more comfortable camping, and that's glamping. I've never tried it, but it sounds interesting. And yeah, Layla, camping, is staying many different places. Probably, you probably move place to place. So, but But glamping, on the other hand, is normally one place because sometimes the tents are made out of glass or out of something in between a house or a hut and a tent. So yeah, it's a bit more comfortable. Lolly, I don't want to be disconnected. Yeah, that's the common problem, right? We don't want to be disconnected from electricity. I love my laptop, my phone, so off the grid is very adventurous and not something that I would be comfortable with. Okay, so let's see. We've done glamping, camping, we've done all these different words, so I think we're going to move on to the next one. I just want to say, while we've got lots of people, don't forget to like. I really appreciate when you like my videos. It really helps me and my channel grow. So if you could like my video, I'd really appreciate that. That's all I ask. So let's move on to the next one. So I'm going to move on to lavish. Lavish. This is a wonderful word, lavish. It's quite the opposite to what we have been talking about. We've been talking about off the grid. And we've been talking about this kind of adventurous travel. What is lavish? What does lavish mean? Can anyone tell me? This is a type of travel that you need a lot of money. Lullaby, that's a clue. You need a lot of money for lavish travel. Wasteful? Zainab, you're half right. It is wasteful, but I suppose it depends on your opinion. Heidi, expensive. Yes, you're right. Let's say luxury. Yeah, Lolly, you're absolutely right. Yeah, extravagant, luxurious. It's a luxury. So lavish travel, it would be staying in a 5-star hotel and perhaps you get breakfast delivered to you. You relax by the pool and drink cocktails. That's my lavish type of holiday. I haven't experienced it, but I hope to. Yeah, right, Layla. So that's one of the effects of lavish travel is, yes, you spend a lot of money. And going back to what Zainab said, a lot of people would say that's wasteful. So you are right. Some people would say that lavish travel is wasteful. Anyone here experienced lavish travel? I don't think I've experienced... I mean... My honeymoon was fairly lavish. We had some lavish experiences, some wonderful wine and cocktails and some nice hotels. But has anyone here experienced lavish travel? Corey, yeah. I agree with you, but I suppose for some people, if they have a lot of money... They want to use it, right? And they want to experience something, I don't know, different to their normal life. I wish I could try. So Heidi, okay, so even if you had the money, you wouldn't do it. Yeah. Yeah, Lolly, I'm the same as you. Hopefully one day we'll get one experience. If you come to my B&B in the future, I'm afraid I don't think it will be lavish. It will be nice and cozy, but I don't think it will be lavish. I'm afraid. Good, yeah, so lavish travel. It's a very expensive type of travel, luxurious. Let's go to the next one. Now, this is a bit of a difficult one, I think. It's idiomatic. A far cry from something. So I'm going to put... It's a far cry from, but let's put the structure. A is a far cry from B. And just to mention, Heidi, so you said sustainable traveling. Yeah, I am totally on board with that. I really like that. And actually, I want to, when I move back to England, I want to live more sustainably as well. I'd like to, generate my own electricity, things like that. So yeah, I'm the same as you. A is a far cry from B. It's very different. Very, very different. Okay, so cry in this case, I think, is like this. Hey, that's a cry. You cry, not cry like this, but cry. Lolly, yeah, you're right. Lolly, you are on fire today. You're absolutely correct. So cry, a far cry from B. A is a far cry from B. So let me give you an example. South Korea is a far cry from England. I could say life in South Korea is a far cry from life in England. It means it's very different. Can anyone give me their examples? Try your examples in the comments and I will take a look and try to give you some advice. So what's your examples? A is a far cry from B. Let me give you another example while I'm waiting. Life in Seoul, living in Seoul is a far cry from life in the countryside. It's so different. Hardeep, my small sister is a far cry from me. That's a good example. Let me think. She's a far cry from me. Yeah, normally, to be honest, it's a good example, Hardeep, but normally we use it where it's completely different situations. So situations or areas or something like that, lifestyle, that kind of thing. So although it's possible to use with people, I don't hear that so much. So good job, Hardeep, but I would use it more for like life in the country is a far cry from life in the city. So lullaby, simply A is a far cry from B. So it's situation A is a far cry from situation B, means they are so different. So different. So Corey says, some people are far cry from falling in love. Elder people. I don't quite understand that. What do you mean by elder people? Is that elder as in age? I'm not quite sure about that one, Corey. Let's go through some of these other examples. My old house is a far cry from my new. Perfect, Layla. Absolutely right. Heidi, my travelling preferences are a far cry from lavish travel. Yeah, lavish is good example. So just change that to are. Hardeep, my school life is a far cry. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely perfect example. Oh yeah, Heidi, you did that. Well done. So let's go. Corey says some people are a far cry from falling in love. Else people. I'm not sure about that one. Some people are far. I feel like that's kind of they're far from doing something, but this means so different. So let's see lollies as well. Asian countries are far cry from European countries. Perfect, and I totally agree. I think in so many senses, Asian countries are a far cry from European countries. Culture, cities, people, food, it's just so different. Oh, and lolly, just I'm sure you know, but European is with EAN on the end, so just be careful of the spelling there. Yeah, great examples. And by the way, it's a really useful idiom. This is something you can definitely use in conversation. I use it a lot. But as I said to Hardeep, who gave a great example on the second example, try to use it more with situations, phenomenas, I should say, locations, that kind of thing. Well done. Okay, let's go to our next one. Now, this is something I really like. A whale of a time. Now, to use it in a sentence, I had a whale. So we use have. I had a whale of a time in Spain. I'll put it's 3 years ago, right? 3 years ago. I had a whale of a time in Spain 3 years ago. What do I mean by a whale of a time? It's true. I had an absolute whale of a time in Spain. Great time. Yeah, you're right. So basically, whale of a time is kind of like extreme adjectives. So fantastic, great, wonderful, incredible. Whale of a time is very expressive. Sounds very poetic. Yeah, great. I really like it. And a while of a time, no lullaby, it is a whale. So whale as in the giant fish, right? So to have a whale of a time means to have a wonderful, fantastic time. And Layla, well done. Yeah, you're right. Zaynep, fascinating. It's not bad, but fascinating is an extreme adjective for very interesting. So very interesting is fascinating. I'm just writing that down. It's very unusual to say that you had a fascinating time. I would say we never say I had a fascinating time. Wonderful, incredible, great, fantastic, yes. Fascinating is very interesting. So you normally talk about things like that country was fascinating, that city was fascinating, the architecture was fascinating. But great example, Zeynep, but a little bit different. We use it a bit differently. But I'm glad you brought that up. So, tell me, where did you have a whale of a time? Where did you, oopsie daisy, did you have a whale of a time? Where did you have a whale of a time? As I said, I had a whale of a time in Spain. I had a whale of a time in Austria, Heidi. I had a whale of a time in Austria when I went skiing. I also had a whale of a time in France. My parents used to have a holiday home there, which we no longer do, but we went there very often actually. Lolly, whale like a baleen whale? I don't know. I'm not sure. I think there's no specific whale, but I'm not familiar with that. I don't even know what that is. Maybe I need to find that out. Heidi, in Madeira. In Madeira last summer. Wow. Yeah, of course, Heidi. Yeah, wanderlust. That's a nice expression. Wanderlust, meaning the desire to travel. Dubai. Okay, great. Layla, you went to Dubai. I went to Dubai. I haven't been to Dubai. I've been to Dubai airport, but I'd love to visit Dubai. Corey, as long as I stay in Turkey, I have a whale of time. Great example. Perfect example. Well done. Yeah. I'd love to go to Turkey. I'd really love to travel there. Zeynep, sorry. North Cyprus. I'd love to go there. I've never been there. Hardy, my dancing class have been a whale of a time for me. Okay, let's just adjust that example a little bit. No, actually, that's really good. The only thing I'd change, to be honest, is has been. Okay, so my dancing class has been a whale of a time for me. Obviously, class is one thing, so we'd just say has. Okay, Heidi. Oh, right. Okay, I'll tell you what my feeling is right now, and I'll check that. You're right, of course, Madeira is an island, but we say on normally. So normally, yeah, you say on when you say the word island. So for example, if you go to Hawaii, you'd say I was in Hawaii. You wouldn't say I was on Hawaii. That sounds very unnatural, though Hawaii is an island. So you say on when you say island. So on Jeju Island. So yeah, I hope that answers that question. Lolly, I had a whale of time when I lived in Guadeloupe. Wow, yeah. Am I saying that correctly? Guadeloupe, or is it Guadalupe? I'm not really familiar. Perfect example. Well done. Niazi was in New York. Fantastic. Oh, I envy you. I'd love to go to New York. I've never been to America. Surprisingly, I've never been to America. A lot of people are surprised by that. Okay, Corey, please continue living on your YouTube, which is useful to improve myself. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. I have lots of plans for my YouTube channel, so don't worry. I've got some grammar videos coming out next week, so lots more. Okay, Heidi. Yeah. Check that out. You can check that on Google. You'll notice that normally you'd say in Hawaii, in Jamaica, that kind of thing. Good. Okay. Well, let's go on to the next one. Now, the next one is nightmare, and you're probably wondering why this is in a travel lesson, a holiday lesson. Why have I put nightmare? Nightmare obviously means a very bad dream, right? But that's not what I mean, or that's not the way I'm using it. Nightmare is often used with another word to show that it was terrible. For example, I had a nightmare holiday. I had a nightmare manager, nightmare co-worker, nightmare student, nightmare teacher. So we use that with other words to say it was terrible. So yeah, Heidi, you're absolutely right. Lolly, English phrasal verbs are a nightmare for me. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to try and do some more phrasal verbs in a story lesson. So hopefully that will help you. I'll do that very soon. Some more phrasal verbs. Hardeep says, can you make a video on IELTS speaking? Yeah, I will actually. Yeah, I promise I'll do that, Hardeep. I don't normally promise, but you know, I actually teach IELTS in Korea. I teach IELTS speaking. Well, I teach all of it, but particularly nowadays I teach IELTS speaking. So I will do that for you, Hardeep. I have my own method, so I'll teach my method. So nightmare, nightmare lockdown, yeah. Korea, especially British people who speak fast. So what is that? A nightmare British person? Do British people speak fast? I often hear feedback that British people sound slower than Americans because British English is a bit more kind of divided. Like we say words clearly, whereas American is kind of mixed together, is a bit more flow. So I've heard that British people sound a little slower. I'm not sure if I'm right. Yeah, Layla, so you can say that. You can just say, oh, I had a nightmare during my mum's illness. I had a nightmare the other day. So it doesn't mean I literally had a nightmare. It means I had a terrible time. So I often start stories like that. I say, I had a nightmare the other day. I was stuck in traffic and I missed my appointment. Okay, so nightmare is really common. Nightmare, let's just put in there. So it basically means a bad thing happened. Okay, a bad thing. Okay, right. Well, I think we're going to move on to our last expression, and this is a very important one for me as a teacher because I often hear mistakes. Look forward to something. Now, let's just start off with an example. I'm looking forward. Oops. I'm looking forward. Oh, I can't type today. I'm having a nightmare typing. I'm looking forward to life after coronavirus. Lolly, thank you. Yes, that's a perfect example and just the example I want to see. Layla, yeah, okay, that's great to hear. It's interesting. Look forward to, yeah, okay. Lullabies one is the reason I'm mentioning this. Although you're right, I want to talk about that. Bearing Beauty, you're absolutely right. That's just perfect. So to look forward to something is to be excited about something in the future. Heidi, you're right as well. Sorry, I've got hiccups. But both of you are right. Now, lullaby, you are right, but I want to add something to that. If you are expecting something in the future, it contains no emotion. You just simply predict that it will happen. You expect it will happen. For example, I expect this summer will be hot. I expect this summer will be hot. Now, that contains no emotion. I'm not feeling excited about it. I'm not, waiting eagerly for it. I'm simply expecting that. I predict that that will happen. So I want you to distinguish expect and looking forward to. I'm looking forward to is I'm really excited about that future thing. Layla, love it. Your example is also perfect and the kind of example I want to see. I'm always looking forward to. Looking for Jack. No, looking forward to Jack's live stream. So just make sure forward to. Looking for means searching. I'm looking for Jack's, is searching for Jack's live stream. So just be careful with that. That's another common mistake. So hopefully you're all, that's clear for everyone. Give me your examples if you have any more examples with looking forward to. Layla, I'm looking forward to. Layla, you did it again. Looking forward to the future. So you could say, I am looking forward to the future being better than now. Okay. Masha, yeah, thanks for that feedback. That's a really good point. Americans speak awfully. Okay, I can't agree with that because that would make me look very rude, but I understand you and thank you for that comment. We are articulate. Yes, we pronounce each word clearly. Yeah, great example. Lolly, Layla, well done. Yeah, thank you. That's a perfect change. And then Heidi, I'm really looking forward to. I'm really looking forward to. Don't forget to the weather change. It has been raining the whole week. Yeah. So with that one, I would say I'm looking forward to the weather changing. Okay, that would be more natural to me. Although change is possible, I'd say I'm looking forward to the weather changing. I'm really looking forward to the weather changing. It's grim outside. It was grim today, actually. Grim. That means kind of dull, wet, horrible weather. It was a grim weather today. Ugh. Okay, well, I think we're going to wrap it up. Wrap it up. So, does anyone have any further questions? Anything you want to ask me before I go? Quick questions. There's only a few minutes left. Don't worry, Layla. Well done. Yeah, you changed it. So, yeah, anyone has any more questions? I'll quickly answer. Let's have my last bit of water. As I always ask, please like my video. I really, really appreciate it. That's all I ask. Just like the video and that helps me grow. And I want to grow. I want to reach more people and, get some more viewers. It would be really nice. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you. Thanks for the likes. I can see a few people liking, so I really appreciate that. And thank you all for joining me. I'll just quickly answer Hardeep's question. How can I improve my listening skills? I'll just answer you briefly. It's a huge question, but I'll just say listening skills. Try to have different types of listening. Different types. That's very important. Try to have different levels of listening. Don't just do ones within your listening range. Try to push yourself really hard. I mean, Hardeep, you seem to be quite good at English. If I were you, I'd be listening to the radio. It's the hardest type of English, so listen to the radio. If that becomes easy, listen to sped up audio, something like that. So you've got to be really trying to push yourself, even if you can understand just 5 or 10%. So that's my example, my advice. I do have a lot of videos answering that question though, Hardeep, so check them out if you can. So yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks to everyone who joined me. Thanks to the newcomers. I saw a few newcomers today, Corey and a few others. Masha, it's great to see you. First time I've had a chat with you. I've seen you a lot in the comments. So I really appreciate that. And I will see you all soon. Thanks to all the regulars as well, of course. I never forget about you. I really love catching up with you. Okay, have a wonderful few weeks. I will be back in 2 or 3 weeks with another subject and see you very soon. Okay, bye everyone.